It is time to get inspired. I know that sticking to a meal plan, keeping your costs, your budget low can be a lot of work and frustrating, and sometimes it's just plain old boring. You're just sick of the same thing time after time. Good news is I've done the hard work for you on this one. I have 3 meals for $30, hopefully inspiring new dishes that are going to knock your socks off. And to get started, I have 3 golden nugget grocery tips to help you save money in the future. Number 1 is that you don't want to get swindled by things that look the same but maybe aren't. So we've got a block of cheese and shredded cheese, and the block cheese and the shredded cheese is the same amount of cheese. However, the shredded cheese is $2.19 and the block cheese is $2. You really want to focus on the unit price there and make sure that you're getting the same amount of cheese for the lowest price possible. You don't want to pay more. You could just shred the cheese at home and it's totally fine. Number 2, you're gonna be a little surprised by because it's kind of a backwards on this with the unit price, but when you are shopping on a small budget like $30, if you can't fit it into your budget, you can't buy it. So you don't always wanna buy in bulk. You wanna buy the container that fits what you're actually cooking. If you have extra money in your budget, I do recommend buying in bulk. I do recommend buying more of something. But in this case, I needed sour cream, and I just want to buy the small container of sour cream versus the bigger container of sour cream because we don't need that much and it will fit into our budget. So that is a great way to stick to your budget and not get excited by like the whole idea of like, oh, you got to buy in bulk and you're going to save tons of money. That's not always true. So just keep that in your back pocket. Number 3 is to find your clearance section. Mine, I have like a bunch of stores near me. Know where the clearance section is in all of them. It's usually the back of the store. Sometimes there'll be like one freezer area where they have like all the marked down freezer stuff, but this can save you tons of money in the long run. I particularly love the clearance produce because a lot of times it's almost as good as the stuff that's out there. I mean, I'm sure they're trying to switch things in and out, but like I can get 2 peppers for 65 cents. That's almost half the cost of 2 peppers that aren't on the clearance rack. And especially if they look good, then I am totally great to buy them and super happy to have them. So those are my 3 tips for today. I'm definitely gonna bring more in the future. So make sure to subscribe so that you can get lots of grocery budget shopping tips to save you money.
So awesome news. I nailed it on my 3 for $30. $29.67. So excited. We're gonna eat such good meals too. I like working with like what we'd call a bigger budget because you do get to eat a little bit better. But even these days, like I still feel like it's so hard. It's just so hard. So we're gonna do taco bowls. We got some ground beef taco seasoning. You don't even need this. This is 99 cents. But if you have what you need on hand, you don't need to get that. I grabbed a tiny thing of sour cream because I'm not going to use it in anything else, but so it's cheaper with $1.09, but you can get a bigger one for, I got ours at our store, it was $1.69, so still sour cream's always pretty budget friendly. 1 package of cilantro for 99 cents. I ended up picking this bar of cheddar for $2 because it was much less expensive than buying the package. So the package of shredded cheese was $2.19, so I say much less, but we saved 19 cents, and I think having fresh grated cheese is just better anyway. I got a couple of tomatoes at 99 cents a pound. We're gonna make our own little Pico de Gallo with this. I got an onion, and we're gonna make We're gonna make kebabs out of some chicken, but I'm gonna use some of the onion in order to make this little pico as well. And a clove of garlic, which is about 50 cents. So we're also gonna use that garlic. We're gonna make a butter garlic chicken one night, and then we're gonna do chicken kebabs the next night. So we'll basically slice these chicken breasts really thin, make the butter garlic chicken, and then cube the rest of these chicken breasts and make chicken kebabs. And with that, we'll do some rice. We have rice for our taco bowls, but we also have rice for both of these nights for the side. And I'm gonna make a butter garlic rice, which is so amazing, so amazing, to go with the chicken one night as well. So that's why I needed all this butter. And I bought the smaller package, even though this is like a more expensive butter. It was just cheaper for me to buy the 2 than to buy the big pack. So I recommend, similar to the sour cream, like buy more and you'll use it later just for the extra 50 cents. But I didn't want to add to my budget, so I didn't do that today because I want to keep it to the solid 30 bucks. I got some parsley. Again, you get like tons of parsley. Do you need all this? I don't know, but that was like $1.29, and we're going to use that for our butter garlic chicken. I got 2
zucchinis. We're gonna have that as a side with the butter garlic chicken. Maybe grill it, maybe just pan fry it, something like that. This was $1 for the sweet kernel corn, and I got this to go with the taco bowls. It's not necessary, but I think I'll cook it actually like in with my rice. We'll see what I decide to do. Everything changes regularly around here, depending on the day. And then I got these peppers were on sale for 65 cents. Now, 99 cents a pound for the zucchini. So originally I was just gonna buy extra zucchini and do zucchini with both dinners with the chicken. But when I saw these on sale, you gotta check your clearance produce racks. If you see something like this, you can actually swap out and then you have a little bit more variety. So I grabbed these two for 65 cents so that I can put those on my kebabs, and we'll use most of this onion. The rest of the onion will be used for that pico, but the most of the onion will actually be used in the kebabs with the peppers, and then that's a separate vegetable. So each meal is gonna be well-rounded, delicious, and about $10 each. Okay, it's time to make dinner here, and I'm gonna make the chicken kebabs. So I'm gonna start by cutting up my peppers and my chicken and my onion, and then we're gonna make a marinade for it. Now the nice thing about this garlic is we're really gonna be stretching it through this meal plan because we're gonna use it with some rice as well. So I think it's important to buy the clove of garlic, but if you don't have a clove of garlic and you're just making this one recipe, these chicken kebabs, you could very easily use garlic powder. So before we cut our chicken, I'm just gonna put this minced garlic in a container that I'm gonna make my marinade in. You do want like a bowl for that. So I did set aside a quarter of my onion, and we're saving that for our Pico de Gallo tomorrow for our taco bowls. So I'll just put that in a bag. Don't worry, I didn't touch the chicken with that hand. These are some pretty large chicken breasts. I have 2 of these left, and I'm gonna be using those I'm gonna slice them very thin, and we're gonna do a garlic chicken. Actually, a third thing we're gonna use our garlic for, we're gonna make a garlic chicken 2 nights from now. But with these breasts, we wanna cut them into chunks. So for this marinade, we have 1 large clove of garlic, or about a tablespoon, a 1/4 cup of vinegar, a 1/2 cup of oil. So I am assuming you have oil and vinegar. If you don't, you can buy it, obviously. Or it's actually really cheap to buy like the store brand dressing, like an Italian dressing or a Greek dressing. And that's usually like $1 or $2. So it's gonna be cheaper than buying like a whole container of oil. So if you're on a tight budget, you can just buy a marinade or a dressing and then just marinate in that, and it'll taste delicious. You want a little pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You want a 1/2 teaspoon of parsley. I did kind of forget to chop that on the cutting board, but I'm just gonna use these kitchen scissors, and I find that that's a really nice, easy way to cut herbs sometimes. And it's nice because we needed this for our chicken in a couple nights, and we can use this in the marinade as well. Okay, so I read that wrong. It's supposed to be 2 teaspoons of salt, so I'm adding extra, and then it's 1 teaspoon of parsley, but I feel comfortable with what's in here. So I'm just pouring this over my chicken and vegetables, and we're gonna place this in the refrigerator for a few hours, and then we're gonna put on kebabs and grill it up. It's another nice evening out here, and Ben loves to play in the trampoline, and he loves to kick the ball. You gonna get it, bud? Kick it. Yeah. Good job. I got the grill going, and I'm just gonna make some kebabs here.
Tie-dye, Daddy?
Yeah, Daddy's tie-dyeing. Just figured I'd do this outside so that everybody can play outside and have a good time. It's nice weather. When I do my kebabs, I like to do the vegetables on one and the chicken on another because they cook at different rates. I'm putting the chicken on the hotter part and then the kebabs on the less hot. I mean the vegetables on the less hot because I think they're gonna cook a little bit faster. Small potential problem here. Out of pellets. But these are almost done, so I might just throw them in the air fryer if I need to get them cooked all the way through. The veggies look pretty good too, so luckily we're just about there. But real life, it happens to the best of us. Air fryer to the rescue. I just cooked these for about, I think it was like 7 minutes at 400 degrees, and it cooked them through the rest of the way that I needed. So my whole plan was to serve this with garlic butter rice. It was delicious, but I didn't make the garlic butter rice because I had this Jennifer Aniston salad that I still needed to use. So I actually ended up
using the Jennifer Aniston salad, which I'll give you the video and the recipe for down below in the description box. And then I'm going to show you the video for garlic butter rice right now that's going to fit perfectly into your budget. You need 6 to 8 cloves of garlic, some vegetable oil, some minced garlic, so basically garlic, butter, white rice, and chicken broth. And then those scallions on top, I mean, if you have them, they're great. They're so cheap, but they're totally optional. You want to start off by slicing those 6 to 8 cloves of garlic very thinly. Now, garlic is so inexpensive. Do yourself a favor and buy yourself a head of garlic every now and then. If you're really, really tight or you only have garlic powder that day, I still think you could get away with doing this recipe with garlic powder. It's all about the butter and the rice, really. Add that garlic powder in and it's still going to be delicious. So I'll show you where you can add that garlic powder when the time is right. We're making this garlic because we're going to actually end up making like a crispy garlic chip. These garlic chips are so easy to make and they're a great addition to this rice, but also really anything else. Like now that I know how to make them so easily, I will probably make them for other things or just top even just a plain white rice with them, or you can put them over a little bit of chicken, but they are so delicious and so simple and budget friendly as always. So this part is really the only chopping you're going to need to do for this recipe. I just took a couple of scallions and sliced those up as well. Like I said, those are optional. If you have them, definitely use them. You're going to need 2 to 3 tablespoons of some sort of fat. I'm just using an olive oil, but whatever you have on hand will do. And you want to heat that over medium-high heat in a saucepan. I'm adding the garlic slices once everything is warmed up, and we're going to saute those, moving them constantly until they're golden and crisp. So we're almost making like a potato chip, but it's a garlic chip. It doesn't take very long, so just watch those really carefully. They're going to cook very fast. Once they get a little bit brown, then you know that they're done. Once they're done, you're going to transfer them to a paper towel, basically to drain off the oil. You want to pour out any excess oil from the pan and then return it to your medium heat. You want to add 2 tablespoons of butter and melt that. And then once that is melted or melted-ish, as you can see, you want to add 2.5 teaspoons of minced garlic. And this is where if you hadn't made those garlic chips, you can go ahead and add maybe a tablespoon or a teaspoon or, you know, however much garlic you like. I feel like garlic powder is very flexible when it comes to garlic powder. Like you can add more, you can add less depending on how much you enjoy. So you go ahead and take the reins on that one. And so if you're using our minced garlic though, you want to saute this for about 1.5 minutes until your garlic starts to turn like a light golden brown and the butter is well infused, because we're basically making a garlic butter. Then you want to add in 1.5 cups of rice. Now you can rinse this rice if you want to ahead of time. I know there's like a strong debate on the internet here over whether you should rinse the rice or not rinse the rice. You can see I'm pouring mine straight from my container. I've never really had a problem with this, but go ahead and do you. You want to stir this around and coat it in the garlic butter. And then we're going to add in 2.5 cups of chicken broth or chicken bouillon. And I really feel like if you are on the cheap here and you don't have either of those things, you could just use some salted water and I still think it would turn out pretty well. It's all about the garlic flavor and the butter flavor here. So even garlic powder and butter, I think will do it for you. Place a lid on your saucepan and bring that to a boil. And then you want to turn the heat down to medium-low and cook for 12 to 15 minutes. At this point, all of the liquid should be absorbed from the rice, and you can double check to make sure that that's happened. I feel like you know when you have those like little holes in the rice that it's perfectly cooked. You can transfer this to a serving bowl if you like, but I was serving mine right in my pot because it's just our family tonight. Add 2 tablespoons of butter and melt that right into your rice. You want to top this with your crispy garlic and your scallions, and it is just so pretty. This is always a huge hit. I've made this for my extended family before, and they were so impressed. Like, this is gourmet rice. This is amazing. I'm like, this is the cheapest, easiest rice ever. Everybody should make it. It is such a winner. The next meal is a taco bowl with a homemade pico, and this is a kid-friendly pico, so I didn't put any jalapenos in it. But either way, delicious meal, super easy and budget-friendly. Some ground beef here. I've got some rice on the stove. I'm gonna make a fresh pico, so I will share that with you. And we'll put all of our delicious toppings, our shredded cheese, our cilantro, the fresh pico, sour cream right on top, and it's gonna be great. So with these taco bowls, I'm gonna make a homemade Pico de Gallo. And you may be wondering where my jalapeno is, but this is gonna be a kid-friendly Pico de Gallo, so we are not gonna use jalapeno. You can totally add jalapeno if you'd like.
Jalapeno.
I know, so I'm not putting it in. No jalapeno peppers.
Yes.
We're gonna dice our 2 tomatoes. You can use more if you have them. You can make more, but we only need this much, so it should be fine. We need about a half an onion. You may recall that I had a larger onion and I saved a quarter of that for this, and then I accidentally used it for something else because these things happen. So I'm using this leftover piece of onion, but you could use the quarter of the other onion to fit into the meal plan. And then we also need a half a cup of chopped cilantro, 2 tablespoons of lime juice. If you have a fresh lime, just squeeze a whole lime in there. I don't, so I'm just using this. I usually keep this on hand in the refrigerator, so I have it at all times. So it's just like an on-hand condiment. And then about a quarter to a half a teaspoon of salt and an eighth a teaspoon of black pepper, and that's to taste. It's gonna depend on how much you're making. And then I shredded up the cheese, and I realized I forgot to use the corn in these bowls. So I still have a can of corn left over, and I only used about half this block of cheese. So you definitely have some leftovers after this meal plan too. So this is my bowl. I have a Ben in my arm, so he might yell, but pretty good. I'm very excited to eat this. I love the freshness of the Pico de Gallo. It tastes delicious. It doesn't need, I mean, obviously authentic is with jalapenos, but like I said, my kids aren't gonna eat that, and that's fine by me. I can always put, hey, he's grabbing the camera. I can always put some, sriracha or hot sauce on this and make it hot for myself, but absolutely delicious. What do you think, Ben? He loves it. Pretty good with a spoon. So tonight we're gonna have garlic butter chicken with zucchini rice. Just gonna get started by chopping up my garlic. Both of these have a lot of garlic, so you can use about 4 cloves of garlic in your chicken, and then I'm gonna use 6 cloves in the rice. However, I know we only bought 1 clove of garlic, and I didn't actually use that clove to make the garlic butter rice that I showed you from the previous day. So if you're making that garlic butter rice and you run out of garlic, you can use garlic powder, or you can just buy a 2nd clove of garlic. Hopefully you have garlic on hand, it's an easy one. And slice up 1 stick of butter. Then we're gonna grate up our 2 zucchinis. We're gonna use the zucchini for the rice and the butter for our chicken. And then I also chopped up some parsley, which I didn't get on camera. So that's the curly parsley. This is probably about a half a cup. We might use a little bit more later if we need to, but we're gonna put that in with the chicken. So we've got kind of a bunch of things going here. We're gonna get both things actually started on the stove pretty soon. We're also gonna slice the chicken in half and then dredge that in a mixture of flour and just salt and pepper. I've got 2 saute pans on the oven. I'm just gonna start with a little bit of olive oil in this one pan, and we're gonna make our rice in here. So once this is hot, I'm gonna add in the garlic and saute that for about 2 minutes. About a tablespoon of fresh oregano to the garlic, and just saute this for a few seconds here. And then I'm just gonna add the zucchini right into the pan. So this is cooked down for a few minutes. I'm adding a 1.5 cups of rice. We're gonna saute this rice in here for a couple minutes too, just get it a little toasted up. Now we're gonna add in 3 cups of water. We're gonna bring it up to a boil, then cover it with a tight-fitting lid and cook it for 15 minutes. All right, so this is heating up. I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil in the pan. You could use butter if you want. I'm gonna use oil to get started, and we'll use the butter later. Once that oil is hot, we're gonna add our chicken to the pan and brown it.
You want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through and that it is nice and brown on both sides. And at this point, it's just making the sauce for the chicken, so it's almost done, and the rice is done as well, and it's so fluffy and delicious. You just want to kind of fluff it up with a fork. There is so much flavor in this rice. So you want to take that entire stick of butter in the cubes, put that right in the pan with all of the goodness from the chicken. Make sure to scrape that up and kind of get everything off the bottom. We're going to add in all of that minced garlic. Mix that around, really try and get those little brown bits up, and then add in your parsley. Almost immediately, once things have melded together, maybe a minute, 2 max, you want to add your chicken right back in and just kind of soak it in that buttery mixture. And you can just even take a spoon and try and like scoop it on top of it. You just want it all mixed in there with all of the flavor. This was absolutely amazing. So delicious, so beautiful. Definitely better than restaurant quality. It was just so, so good. Yep, this is seriously going to be amazing. I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to be a hit. This is amazingly tender. Like this chicken.
Mama,
Cut it with a fork. It's that good.
so yummy. I want to say something to the camera.
You do.
Mama always puts zucchini in rice, I feel like.
You think so? Good, JJ. I want to thank you so much for watching today. If you're looking for more amazing recipe ideas, click on this next video. And remember, the next time you're on YouTube, make sure you're watching Meals with Maria.